Can we please talk about UFC Fight Night? I think it's in Long Island, something like that. It's in that New York kind of area. I don't know which one it is. I've lost count at this point, but it is headlined by Brian Ortega taking on Yair Rodriguez. You know what the drill is. Basically, if you're new to these videos, just what I do in a nutshell is I take a look at some of the fights. I give you a bit more information on all the fighters involved, do a bit of research, what they do well, what they don't, what certain openings will be. Now, the bets that I make are terrible, but the information is all good. So just like use the information. It's a good way to get to know some of the fighters before you watch the event on Saturday night. It's early in the UK as well. Make sure that you know. I think it starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So that's a treat for the UK fans, isn't it? And yeah, so if you would like to know more about some of the fighters in this event, stay with me for the Burt Locker Fights in 15 for the UFC Fight Night, headlined by Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez. So I'm going to start off in the featherweight division, 145 pounds. We've got Hurricane Shane Burgos taking on Charles Jourdain. Now, this is interesting. Now, I like Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos is a fun fighter to watch. He's got very good hands. He's way better than his record suggests because he's only got 3 losses on his record. Those losses are to Josh Emmett, Kelvin Cater and Edson Barboza. Those 3 guys, there's no shame in losing to any of those guys. And other than that, he was on a bit of a tear. He's shown he's got submissions. He likes to strike predominantly. What he does really well, his boxing is very, very sharp. He tends to fight a little recklessly. I don't like the amount that he keeps his hands down. His hands do stay down far too much. It's why he got caught by Edson Barboza. So that is an issue, but it's also why I enjoy watching him so much, because he goes in, hands down, and he goes in there swinging, boom, for the fences. He loves it. Brilliant stuff. And he's got, I forget how many performance of the night bonuses. He's got at least 3 or 4, and that's the kind of fighter that he is. That's why this matchup is interesting to me, because he's taking on Charles Jourdain. Now, Charles Jourdain is another striker, predominantly a kicker. He's a very good kicker. He loves those kicks. He kicks from range, and he's going to need to do that. He's going to be giving up reach and height in this one. So those kicks are going to be very important. I would suggest that his best route is probably to kick to the legs first. However, Jourdain does like to kick to the body. When he does that, he does not cover up very well. I've noticed against Venata, he won that fight, I would add, with a lovely single arm guillotine. He's got good submissions as well, Jourdain. That single arm guillotine was terrific. Go back and watch that. But even in that fight against Veneta, which he won, I didn't like how open he was leaving himself. He was throwing the body kick, but then he was throwing the body kick with his hands down and then just getting battered like a few times on the return. If he does that against Shane Burgos does have the power to separate you from your senses. So I would say that that's an opening that we could see Shane Burgos take advantage of. As I say, Shane Burgos' hands, he's not maybe as flashy of a striker as Jourdain is, but I feel like his bread and butter fundamentals are probably slightly stronger, other than keeping those fucking hands up, Shane. Keep the fucking... Although, look, it's just how he fights. Fighters have different styles. Shane Burgos is a wild man. You know, he's got great punches. I'd love to see him keep those hands up a little bit more, protect that chin. But I don't think he's going to have to worry too much about that against Jourdain. Jourdain's hands are not as strong as his feet, nowhere near. And I do think actually Jourdain, when he throws those kicks, he leaves himself very open to counters with the check right hook and also with the straight punches down the pipe. If Burgos can get that cross going, he's going to cover a lot of distance with that. And he already has the reach and he already has the height. That's why I I'm thinking that Shane Burgos has probably got this one. Another thing that Shane does very well is he works the body. He goes from the body and then goes up top, but he also he can really damage people to the body as well. I think it was Amir Khani in 2019 that Shane Burgos caught him with a terrific body shot, which actually dropped him, and that was what kind of finished the fight. Really terrific shot, that. So he can go to the body, he can go to the head. His hands are very crisp, and I feel like that Jourdain he has a horrible habit of throwing that kick and not covering up. I think that he might pay for that, and he'll pay for it by getting knocked out. Shane Burgos has got the power to do it, so I am taking Hurricane Shane to get the knockout. I forget what the odds are on that. I'll just quickly double check. Let's have a look. Oh, I need to log in. That's good. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, don't get me wrong. Jourdain, it wouldn't surprise me massively. 3.50 you're getting on the knockout for Shane Burgos, by the way. It wouldn't surprise me to see Jourdain. Jourdain's got some great kicks. If Shane Burgos doesn't keep those hands up or he zigs when he should have zagged, look, Charles Jourdain could find the knockout here. But for me, I think the most likely outcome is Shane Burgos, probably by decision, but I've got no interest in that. I'm going for Shane by knockout just because that's more what I want to happen more than anything else. Terrible bet, 3.50 on the bet slip. Lovely stuff. Now, the next fight I'm going to be looking at is in the strawweight division of the women's. You've got the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson, taking on the Muay Thai vicious bitch, Amanda Limos. I don't think that's her actual nickname. It should be, because goddamn, her Muay Thai is vicious. This breakdown is exclusively over onto my Patreon, so if you would like to go and see that breakdown, head over to the Burt Locker on Patreon and go and check that one out. So then we've got the main event, Yair Rodriguez against Brian Ortega. This is a fun matchup. It's just got fun written all over it. Now, Yair Rodriguez, he's somebody that I've kind of been a little bit on and off with because he was really good. I tell you, remember he came in against BJ Penn and basically did some kind of like Street Fighter dragon kick kind of thing and like knocked him out. It was wonderful. It was like a jumping, spinning 360 kick, Bruce Lee cross kick. That was just, yeah, it was great. And then he was just so inactive, and he has still been very, very inactive. I mean, the last time we said this is Yair being somewhat more active, I would say that, because after all that inactivity, he came back against Max Holloway, and I thought Max Holloway was going to have an easy night with Yair Rodriguez, and it was far from easy. Look, Yair lost that fight, but man, did he gain a lot of respect from a lot of people in that, because he really made Max earn that. It was a close fight, and he really hurt Max a few times. Like, you saw how diverse and how good his striking is. His kicks really are next level. He really is one of the best kickers in the game. And like before that, before the Max fight, I was thinking Yair was going to be kind of easy work for Max, and he wasn't. It's far from it. Now, Ortega, he is a submission-first guy. We all know that. His boxing has gotten better. After he got battered by Max Holloway, he came back after he took a long layoff, really worked on his hands. And you could see that because he came back against the Korean Zombie and boxed his head off. Like, it was brilliant to watch. So now you're thinking, look, Ortega, he's now a dual threat. He's not just this really great submission guy, but he's gonna knock people out. Because obviously we saw him uppercut Frankie Edgar as well. That was a brilliant uppercut. So his boxing is there, and he is good with it. However, I would say that Frankie Edgar, I don't know, it was an older Frankie Edgar, probably slightly more hittable. Also, Edgar was giving an awful lot of size up to Ortega in that fight. I would say that as well. The Korean Zombie, he's always been known as someone that's been fairly hittable. Throughout his career, he's known for taking damage. It's not something he should be known for, but that's what the Korean Zombie is generally known for. So when you're looking at Ortega's boxing, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because I don't, in boxing, right, I don't know if Ortega necessarily wants to keep this in boxing or kickboxing range for too long with Yair Rodriguez, because Yair Rodriguez has shown that he can uncork a huge knockout from just about anywhere. That spinning back elbow that he uncorked in the dying seconds against Korean Zombie, that's an opponent they both have in common, of course. And yeah, Yair Rodriguez, His kicks, his low kicks are very good. He kicks to the body. His legs are just so dexterous. They're so in control. He can just control exactly. Pop, pop, pop. He knows exactly where. He's got such good kicks. They're brilliant. So I don't think Ortega's necessarily going to want to keep this at kickboxing range for too long. Maybe if he gets in close, he can keep it in boxing range. But I still don't think you really want to do that against Ortega. Or the easiest way to against Yair Rodriguez, sorry. The easiest way for Ortega to win this fight is to create scrambles and get us to the ground. And actually, look, Ortega's extremely good at creating those scrambles. He's extremely good at finding those guillotines and finding those chokes. They call him T-City for a reason, because his speciality is triangles. He can lock up a triangle from so quickly. I mean, we saw it against Volkanovski. How Volkanovski didn't tap those is unbelievable. It's like that dude doesn't even need oxygen. It's weird. So Ortega's submissions should not be overlooked here. I think that Ortega is his easiest path to victory is to go for those submissions, and I think that that's exactly what happens. I really do. I think that at some point there is going to be a scramble. I think that Yair is going to get the better of the stand-up. I believe that. I think that on the feet, Yair is probably a little bit slicker, a little bit technically better, because Ortega, he's kind of like a jiu-jitsu guy who has learned striking, whereas, you know, Yair is just, his striking is very, very flashy, but very, very good as well. So I think that Ortega is going to find a way to get this to the ground. I think that when it goes to the ground, honestly, Ortega, the gap is going to be huge if it goes to the ground. Ortega, if it goes to the ground, will have a relatively easy time finding that choke, finding that submission, and that's what I'm going for. 3.50. So look, there's every chance. Look, every fight starts on the feet. Every round starts on the feet. And I think Yair Rodriguez has got a real advantage there. So this is an interesting matchup because it could easily go either way. And it's going to be super fun to see how Ortega deals with those flashy kicks of Yair Rodriguez. Because don't forget, you know, kicks can be caught. If Ortega times those body kicks from Yair Rodriguez, like, he can easily catch one of those, get a sweep, and then it goes to the ground, and then, like, Yair is going to be in trouble. So yeah, that's what I'm rolling the dice on. That's a terrible bet. Ortega by submission. That's what's going on my bet slip. So I'm putting all those three together. I've taken Hurricane Shane to get the knockout. I've got Amanda Limos to get the knockout, and I have got Brian Ortega to get the submission. That is just 39.81, circa 40 to 1. Terrible bet. Worth a quid though, because that's my MMA scratch card of the week. Whether you're scratching it off, you get to watch people punch each other in the face. And that's all I've got time for. I'll be recapping this next week, Tuesday or Wednesday probably. Have a quick look at the news and find some funny memes for us all to laugh at. It's a good bloody time. So make sure you join me then. Until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.